And the topic of our satsang is, why tell God anything when He knows everything? Isn't that true? He knows everything. In fact, God is everything. Yogananji said that God's body is this entire space. He is everything. All of creation is playing within God. Right? His consciousness underlies everything here, from a rock to a human being. In the Gita, Krishna says that I am existing in the heart of all beings. I am the self of all. If He is truly our self, our real self, then why do we really need to ever tell Him our wants and needs and desires? He knows them even better, I think, sometimes than we know our own needs and what we want, our desires, what we need to change in ourselves, our inner and outer world. He knows these clearly, and actually clarity is the key to all of this, right? Do we know clearly what we want? We have thousands of these thoughts all the time in our head. Right? Most of them are contradictory, aren't they? I want this, but suddenly I realize, no, I shouldn't, because this is not right, and that is there, and this, and all of these thoughts contradicting. And then what action do we take? Sometimes, we have no control over that. In the Gita also, Arjun tells Krishnji that I have no control over my action. I want to do something, and I actually end up doing something else. So why is that? We really, sometimes we even have material desires, right? Suppose I want to earn this $1 million, but then a part of me wants to relax, part of me wants to watch Netflix, wants to holiday all the time. Even in our own spiritual journey, we see a lot of times we go back from Ananda. I'm going to meditate twice a day, every day, and every day will be deeper and deeper and deeper, and longer and longer. And what happens sometimes when we go back home? Oh, who's going to get up in the morning? This routine is a little difficult to do. So, when we don't have clarity of what we really want, we are never able to succeed in what we want to do. And the gurus and God know this better than even us. Telling them in the form of a prayer, telling them our deepest desires and needs, it becomes like an affirmation. In fact, it brings us clarity in our mind. Any step that you need to take to succeed first needs to start with clarity in thoughts. Isn't that so? If we don't know what we want, what are we really going to achieve? And Yogananji says that words are the most powerful. Because what do? They give direction to our energy and to our willpower, sending them powerfully in one direction. So it's very important to verbalize sometimes our thoughts. And then when we do it with God, then it has an immediate effect of uplifting us, right? It has an immediate effect of calming and centering us. Our very words become imbued with the consciousness of God, with the power and vibration of God. And Yogananji gave these affirmations, these prayer demands to us in the form of his prayer demands in Whispers from Eternity. Most of you must have read this. Why did he do it? Again, prayer demands to God. Why? Because these uplifting words, these spiritualized words by the masters, what do? They actually give us an affirmation of what we want to strive for, or at least what we should strive for. Right? So I want to read one of these to you today. And this prayer demand is called In the Temple of United Hearts. Divine Mother, may I feel your heart throbs in my own heart, your joy in my happiness, your wise direction in all my activity, your spirit in my soul. Divine Mother, I lay all the flowers of my love at your feet of eternity. Oh, open wide the flowers of my budding devotion and release your fragrance that it may spread from my soul to the soul of others, ever whispering of thee. I pray to behold my love reflected in others. In the light of that greater love, may I behold your unveiled face of perfect compassion. May I behold my true self in others, that I perceive you ever enthroned in our united hearts. The title of our satsang today, Why Tell God Anything When He Knows Everything, has a second part to the title itself that Swamiji wrote, which was, Why Offer God Anything When He Has Everything? Again, that's true. Why offer anything to Him? Why offer Him even our love? Isn't He truly the embodiment of love? Does He really need our little, sometimes selfish human love, really? Can we, even with our finite capabilities, truly, really love Him? Yet, offering our love to Him, offering all of us, all ourselves to Him, having a relationship with Him is truly helpful for us because it creates that relationship between us. God is infinite spirit. He is boundless, an ocean of joy and bliss, isn't He? He is formless. With our finite human understanding, can we really relate to Him and understand? Not really. So when we start to relate to Him as a father, as a mother, as a child, then we can really start to open up that love for Him. Yogananji would say that the best way to love God was to love her as a mother. And he said a mother's love is the closest to God's love. Why? Because we can, at the end of the day, go to our mother, give out everything that's in our heart, right? Without any judgment. Sometimes we complain, we even get angry, we get pretty upset. I can see that these days when my children have entered college, they get very upset with us a lot of times, with our controlling natures. But you can tell God and mothers anything, and at the end of the day, what will their prayer be? For our goodness, right? That only good happens to us. So he says that make God your divine mother. When we start loving God in that limited way that we have, it's slowly as we deepen and strengthen that love, it starts to expand into that divine love, deep devotion of the heart. Right? So very important to create that relation. Once, a long time back, I was very upset with somebody. And I was very hurt and I was, a little angry also. And then I went and laid my heart bare to a confidant, who I thought I could confide in. And what does she say? Oh, it's okay, don't worry, it's such a small thing and, you'll get over it. All of this keeps happening. And that hurt me even more. At that time, I couldn't see that that person was actually doing it for my benefit, and it was true, But I couldn't see that. And I'm like, this person also doesn't understand. When she needs to, she keeps coming and confiding in me, and I help her. And with me, she's like, doing this, and I was even more hurt. Now, who do I confide in? Yeah, so the tube light finally started, and I'm like, yeah, all the teachings are filled. The masters are always saying, come to us, talk to us, confide in us, tell us everything that you want. So I said, let me experiment with that. This was a long time back, and believe me, I've really used that experiment a lot. Then I just did that, you know. I felt Master, I felt the Gurus at my spiritual eye, and then I let go of all my emotions, which were pretty stormy at that by that time, and I just let it out and told him everything, you know, all the complaints, everything that, and then magic happened, right? I suddenly started feeling the heart becoming lighter and lighter, and in that moment, I felt much better than I had in days. And not only that, a lot of clarity also came, which brought me deep peace and understanding about the whole situation. So, what did I learn from that? That talking to God really helps, of course. But what also happens is, because this had been going on for many days, but when did it start to leave me? When I started to offer it up to God. So, this really taught me that even to receive the grace and blessings, the help of God, we need to have that channel of communication open, of receptivity open, isn't it? The sun is shining outside, but if we keep our windows closed, what's going to happen? We need to open our windows to receive the sun inside, right? So when we pray, when we meditate, do jap, when we chant, what happens? We open up this channel of receptivity to receive His consciousness within us, to receive His help. And when we actually do receive His consciousness in our inner stillness, in our inner silence, when we actually commune with God, then perhaps words do become superfluous. Thank you.
Even as I was reflecting on this topic, I remembered what we learned in the beginning meditation courses that we do here, that meditation is listening to God and prayer is talking to God. And this question that when God knows everything, why do we even need to tell Him anything? Why do we even need to pray? And it's a valid question. And I was really reflecting that what if there is no need for us to express to God, to tell God anything, or to pray to Him? And I was feeling that most of us, chalo, the people who are coming here in Ananda have a different view, but most of us in the world, we get so busy with our material plane, with our physical day-to-day life, that frankly, if we don't need that help from God, if we don't need to express to Him or pray to Him, we may not even remember Him. We may not even have the time or take a moment to think of Him. I was reading an autobiography of a saint recently, some time back, and he made a very a good statement that has really stayed with me. He says, "You are where your mind is. You are where your mind is." And from that time, I've become a little vigilant to really check at every point, where is my mind? What am I thinking? Because knowingly, unknowingly, we are attuning to whatever is in our mind, and that is really deciding what our level of consciousness is, what our state of consciousness is. And it's vice versa. If we want to have a certain level of consciousness and keep it there, then we are required to choose what we want to think, what we bring into our mind. And really, when we pray to God, when we talk to God, when we do that, we are bringing consciously, willingly, we are bringing God to in our mind. We are bringing God to in our awareness. And we are consciously trying to tune into Him in that moment. And that is and we need to do that because that is the choice that we are making, that I choose to bring God into my mind, to call Him, to express to Him, to talk to Him, to pray to Him, because I choose to elevate my consciousness, because God is the only one, and the gurus They can elevate our consciousness, they can uplift us. And not only do they do that, when we pray to them, it also says that I am inviting you and I am now willing to be open, to be receptive to your grace and blessings. God's grace, God's blessings is everywhere, but if we don't invite that, if we don't willingly want that, we are not going to feel it even though if it is there. You know, I read this quote by Ananda Moyima, and she says that every breath with which we do not remember God is wasted. So, really, all the time when we do not have God in our mind, according to her, all those moments are wasted in our life, and people who don't remember Him, remember God, the gurus don't talk to Him, don't pray to Him, kind of their whole incarnation is wasted, according to her. And I was also thinking that our Guru Paramhansa Yogananda, he repeatedly tells his devotees that to keep their consciousness at the spiritual eye, at the third eye point, because he says that is the seat of God. And the more we keep our awareness there, the more we are consciously tuning into Him and keeping our consciousness uplifted. And this is important. Praying to God, talking to God, expressing to God is important, because otherwise I felt that Yogananda ji wouldn't have written The Whispers from Eternity. It is a book from which Vasudha also read. It is the book of prayer demands. It's an entire book of prayers that he wrote, and if it was not important, he wouldn't have written that at all. And so it is so very important to talk to God, even though He may know everything about us. And there is another aspect to it also, that man and us, we are the only creatures that God has given us free will. We have the free will to choose what we want to think, how we want to act, what we want to do, whether or not we want to bring God and gurus into our lives. And I was recently also reading this book again, which Swami Kriyananda has written, How to Be a True Channel. And in that, he says that it's like when somebody, if your house is open, if the door is open, it will only be thieves who will just walk into the house to do something, but no good person will walk into your house uninvited. And it's the same with our consciousness. If we don't invite God and the gurus willingly, consciously, they are not going to come. They are not going to help us, even though that they know what help we need. Even though they know what we need, they are not going to come and help us. And so it is important for us to pray, to invite them, because only then they will come. Recently, we had this spiritual renewal week in Puri, and we had gone to this, there is Karar ashram, where Sri Yukteswar ji's samadhi, it is there, it is the samadhi mandir. And I had gone with a very deep prayer, and I had this vritti, this tendency in me, which in a certain situation, it would just surface. And for a long time, I was trying to get rid of it. And I went and I prayed to him and meditated and left. And that time I really didn't think whether he has listened to my prayer or anything happened or not happened. And then soon I was in that same situation where those tendencies will again come surface. And I realized that it didn't come. It just didn't come. And I thought maybe fluke mein ho gaya. Let's see again. And that situation again and again came, and that tendency never came. And this has happened, I think, it would have happened with all of us. And not only once, again and again, that whenever we ask for their help, they do come. And and they are proving by doing this that they want to help. They want us to call them. They want us to invite them and to to ask for help, because they want us to improve. They want us to get rid of all these things that we don't need. They want us to rise. And I was also, in a recent talk by Nayaswami Jyotishji, he said that there are two prayers that Paramhansa Yogananda said are the highest prayers. And I thought it is important for us to know what these prayers are. One, he said that the prayer is, Father, let me see. Father, give me thyself, that I may give thee to all. And the second prayer himself that is very, very important that Yogananda says is, I will, I will reason, and I will act, but guide thou my will, my reason, my every activity to the right path in everything. He says these two prayers are the most important, because Paramhansa Yogananda also said that his path was a path of meditation and service. And the first prayer helps us to tune in to the meditation part, for deeper meditation. That when we meditate, God come to us, and also that we may give you to everyone. And that is why after meditation we pray. We share the blessings and the experiences, or whatever the blessings that we received, with everyone, because that also affirms that we are not egoic beings who don't want to share, who don't want to give. That affirms our soul nature, that we are a soul, and the soul always wants to give, wants to share, wants to expand. And the second prayer is really for tuning into a prayer for helping us serve properly, that we want to become your instruments. We want to act, but only as your instruments, only under your guidance, and we only want to do what your will for us is to do. And so he says that the real prayer for us devotees, the deepest prayer, is really to ask for that attunement. That attunement, the deeper attunement, because only by that we will be able to know God, and we will be able to also know His will for us. And then we act, we think, we say, we talk, everything as per His divine will for us. Oh. And that is why it is important that, in spite of God knowing everything, we talk to Him, we express to Him, we pray to Him.